What you're going to see right now is a training system that I have now used for more than 20 years. Just as cricket is the same in India as it is in any other country, right? The game of cricket's played the same. This concept of what I'm going to talk about is the very fundamentals of how you build a successful business with Unicity and even within the network marketing industry. So here it is. Step one, you start your business, and I'm going to talk about that here tonight. After you start, step two is you're going to invite people to look at the business. Step three is you then begin to introduce the business. Eric, can you just close that door? Step three, you introduce the business. Step four is that you then gain a decision. Step five, you get your new partner started. And as you get them started, you're then going to continue the cycle. You're going to teach them how to invite. You're going to teach them how to introduce. You're going to teach them how to gain positive decisions. You're going to teach them how to get their new people started. So it's just a cycle. You just continue to duplicate this cycle. So step one, start your business. The first thing is to become a distributor. For those of you who are not yet distributors, it's 900 rupees to get a starter kit. It includes copies of this training program, copies of the corporate profile presentation that I used already in my PowerPoint tonight. It's a copy of our compensation plan document, copies of applications and agreements, brochures. So it's a starter kit that's tools that you will use to build your business and to create a little presentation book. So, by the way, if you're not yet a distributor, you can sign up out here tonight. We've got applications out here. You can sign up out here tonight. Dr. Yoga has a little, what's called a business building center here in Hyderabad. So people can go in there, complete applications. They can pick up product right here in Hyderabad. So tomorrow's Hyderabad. But he's also he's got one in Hyderabad and one in Chennai. So I guess I kind of get away with making that mistake here tonight. So if you want to do it online, you can do it at unicity.net/India. Number two is you place your product order. Here's the thing that's important. There's no reason to sign up into our business unless you're going to place a product order. Again, one of the things that I have found to be very unique in this country is the number of people who are willing to sign up and not place a product order. Don't waste your 900 rupees. Okay? This is not a game of sign up. The only reason you become a distributor is if you're going to build a business. So if you're going to build a business, then you become a distributor and you place a product order. You'll place a product order consistent with whatever your goals are. Whatever kind of commitment you're looking to make to your business. If you're making a small commitment, place a small order. If you're making a larger commitment, you want to place a larger order. Third point on getting your business started is to set your goals. It's real simple, and that is that if you want to succeed in this business, you need to be clear on exactly what you want to accomplish. My advice to you, put your goals in writing. Identify in your mind exactly why you're building this business. Review your goals every day so that you can continue to reinforce the reasons that you've made the decision to build your business. Also, take a look at our compensation plan and make a note. When do you want to be a manager? When do you want to be a senior manager? When do you want to be a director? I don't know if what we're doing would be of interest to you, but I wanted to show you what I'm doing and see if maybe it would. You know, so some sort of an approach like that. I mean, getting a little more tired here tonight, so it's not quite as good as it was earlier today. But the whole point of your invitation call is to create interest and curiosity. When somebody says, well, what is this? Tell me more about it. Tell me a little bit about what you're talking about. I know you're going to have a lot of questions, and I'm not prepared to answer those questions over the phone. This is something I need to show you. When would you be available to get together so I can show you what I'm doing? No matter what question they ask you, the response is the same. So you want to arouse curiosity and interest. You want to create urgency. How soon can we get together? So after you have your invitation, you would say, how soon can we get together? What is your schedule like tomorrow? You want to try to get together with people as soon as possible after your invitation. If you're with somebody, if I'm inviting somebody in person, I might use this invitation and say, how soon can we sit down? And how soon will your schedule be available to sit down so I can show you what I'm doing? So you want to try to schedule these appointments as soon as you can after the invitation call. You know, and you, by the way, how soon is an important word. It's not like, what's your schedule look like this week where we can get together? It's how soon would you be available to take an hour and sit down with me? How soon? Number 3 is to gain a commitment. You want to gain a commitment on where you're going to meet. Let's meet at this location at this time. Is there any reason why you wouldn't be able to be there at this time? Okay, I've got it in my appointment book. Have you got it in yours? And obviously you guys know India better than anyone. You know how, again, people often won't show up at appointments and they won't tell you. Get commitment so you're not wasting your time. We've got the same problem in the United States. So let's walk through the invitation process. Number 1 is you prepare for the call. Find a location free of distractions where you can make these calls. What do I mean? You don't want to be making them walking down the street with cars going by honking their horns. Get yourself in a place where you can focus on the conversation, where there's nothing going on around you. There's not kids running around in the background. Your spouse isn't overhearing your conversation. Get yourself in a place where you can think and focus on the conversation. These are important calls that you're going to make. Think about the person you're going to call. Think about why you believe this business would be appealing to this person. Then, make your invitation call. Offer your invitation. I shared with you an idea of that already tonight. Create interest in your invitation. Number 4, gain a commitment. Here's the keys on gaining commitment. When scheduling time to meet in person, get a firm commitment on the time and place you're going to meet. When scheduling time to follow up with somebody who's agreed to review one of our tools, such as calling somebody, asking to watch one of our online videos, sending them a PDF of our presentation. Maybe if your prospect is in a different part of India and you don't have the ability to get together with them and you're going to send them something to review, set a firm time on when you're going to follow up with them to talk again. After your invitation call, once you've made your invitation and they've agreed to meet with you or they've agreed to review the tool that you're sending them, get off the phone. If you continue to have small talk, like, well, you know, how's the family doing, blah, 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 they're going to say, well, come on, tell me a little bit about this. So when you get done with your invitation, say, great, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I'll meet you at this location. And by the way, can you do me a favor? If anything comes up that will cause you to not be there, can you please at least give me a 2-hour notice? I mean, if you're meeting with somebody, ask them to give you at least a 2-hour notice if they're not going to be able to come. If you're inviting them to a private presentation at your home, ask them to give you a 24-hour notice. But ask them to give you a notice so that you have some time so you're not driving across town to meet with somebody who doesn't show up. Okay? So, very briefly, prepare for the call, make the call, offer your invitation, gain a commitment, and then get off the phone. 4 different options for introducing this business. The first of which is called the one-on-one presentation. This is when you meet privately with someone, and I'm just going to show you this since I'm bringing this up again. Doing that is that you're going to get in your starter kit, or you can print it out online, the presentation I walked through tonight. Okay? Doesn't that look familiar? It's this first slide. Okay? This is that Okay, this is the Rexall store. I talked about this. All the talking points I talked about tonight are all right here in this book. Okay, so you can print this out, put this in these little clear sleeves. If for those of you who do get a starter kit, you may want to. The company's done a great job of making it a book you can just use by itself, but you may want to cut the spine and make your own book so it lasts a long time. Otherwise, it'll get kind of wore out from giving presentations. So this is when I sit down with somebody, and I've sat down with a lot of people this month. I sit down with them, and that's what I use to walk them through and introduce them to our business. By the way, back up 1 second. And if you are new, ask your sponsor to join you. That's called a 2-on-1 presentation. So if I sponsored Bob and Bob's new, I'm going to go with Bob and meet all his best people. He's then going to be able to watch me present the business to these people. He's then going to learn how to do it so that he can do it himself. So if you're new, ask your sponsor to come with you to introduce the business to your best people. Point 2 is a private small group presentation. These are extremely effective. This is where, if you were to get started, you would invite a small group of people to your home to learn about the business. Now, at that small group meeting, you can walk people through the presentation book by just holding it up. If it's a small group of 4 or 5 or 6 people, walk them through the presentation. Okay? You can also make copies of that and give it to everybody at your home so they can kind of turn through the pages with you. The other option is you can take and get a copy of my PowerPoint that I've gone through here tonight. You can just take it with your computer and plug it into your TV, and you can show it right on your TV screen in your home and walk them through a PowerPoint and explain to them our business. So private small group presentations are very effective, especially for those of you who don't have a lot of time to put into your business, because you can invite a group of 10 people to your home, and in 1 hour you can present the business to 10 people in that 1 hour. When you sponsor people, if you want to leverage your time, encourage your people to set up a private presentation at their home, where you come to their home and give a presentation to a small group of people. A small group meeting can also be a product demonstration. It could be where you have a small group of people that you come over to learn more about the product, where you then let everybody taste the product, sample the product, where you talk about the product, and then sell the product to people there. And then for those people who are there that have an interest in business, say, I can do one of these product parties at your home. And they can then buy product, and then you can go to their home and do a private product party. Who you've seen up here tonight, who's opened up the meeting, he has got what is called a business building center here in Chennai. This is where people are going to be able to come and purchase the product. He is also going to be establishing a weekly business presentation. The objective of this weekly business presentation is to provide a place where you can bring your prospects, maybe people that you've met with in a one-on-one, or people you've met with in a 2-on-1 presentation, maybe people you've met with in a small group meeting. They can all come together each week as part of a weekly business meeting, where as this market grows, they'll hear stories and testimonials from people who've used the product and had results, people who have been able to achieve great results in the business. Now your prospects will be able to come and hear that. Hopefully for you, you'll be one of the people up here sharing your story. So weekly business meetings are very important. As it says, back up in a second, Bob, these meetings generally take place in hotels, banquet halls, private rooms and restaurants, or wherever meeting space is available. And you'll see over time that this market's going to grow. I wouldn't be surprised when I come back to Chennai that we've got 2 to 3 times as many people as we have here in this room tonight as this market begins to grow. And then the fourth option for introducing the business are video presentations. The company has done an amazing job creating some award-winning videos, truly award-winning. They have won many awards. I don't know any network marketing company that's got more videos than we have. So you can go to a number of our websites to review those videos. Bob, you know the name of the newest website that... BusinessVideoInformation.com is a website that's got, I don't know, more than 20 videos on there. And so it's Business Video Information, for those of you who want to make notes on that. And if there's a specific video that's there that you like, for example, I met with a person yesterday who said, I want to know how BioSlice Slim works. I would go to businessvideoinformation.com, find the video titled simply Slim that explains how Slim works. I would then copy the link in the top of that, send an email, Joe, per our conversation yesterday, you want to know more about how BioSlife Slim works. Click the link below to watch a video that explains it. Now that person can watch a video that learn more about how BioSlife Slim works. One presentation, this private business meeting, the weekly business presentations, or the video presentation. So these are 4 great options available to you for presenting the business to your prospects. All right. Identify your prospects' reasons for considering the business. One of the things talking to over the phone, or if it's a person you're meeting with individually, is to try to identify, even before you get into the details of the business, what kind of a need, desire, or concern that perhaps this business could address. So, for example, if I'm meeting with Bob, and Bob has been a mortgage broker, I would say, Bob, how are things going in the mortgage business? And he tells me. So how's the economy affecting your business? Well, it's not going very good right now. It's kind of a challenging time for us. My goal in asking these questions is to see how things are going. Bob, if there was one thing you could change about what you're doing, what would that be? What is the most frustrating part of being a mortgage broker? You see, I want to ask questions to find out where maybe there's some pain in his life. Why it is that maybe our business could be appealing to a part of his life that he's not been able to achieve in his mortgage business. So identify your prospects' reasons for considering the business. One of your objectives when meeting with people is to show them how this business can help them achieve their goals. Ask questions to determine a need, desire, or concern that the Unicity business can address. And if you can learn about this up front, then you can continue to show them how this business can help them achieve their goals. Step 4, gain a positive decision. Remember I said tonight, this is not about convincing. This is a simple, logical, step-by-step process for getting a positive decision. So first thing you're going to do is determine interest. Be open to learning more about it. So anytime you present the business, if it's long distance and you're following up with somebody who watched a video or who reviewed our corporate profile, you would say, does this sound like something you'd be open to learning more about? If you're meeting with somebody and you're done presenting the business, does this sound like something that you're interested in or that you're open to learning more about? Simple question. Second question. Anytime you present the business to somebody that is interested in knowing more, you very simply say, what do you think you need to know more about to help you determine if this is right for you? What do you think you need to know more about to determine if this is right for you? Because if somebody's got an interest, what's the next step? Find out what they need to know to make a decision. How do you find out what they need to know? You ask. 3, provide the information requested in a positive and helpful manner. So after learning what your prospective business partners still think they need to know to make a decision, spend your time talking about those points. So if Bob is my prospect and I've got to that point and I say, Bob, what do you feel you need to know more about? He says, I need to know more about the company. I'd say, Bob, other than learning more about the company, what else do you need to learn more about? Well, I need to know a little bit more about the compensation plan. Great. Other than knowing more about the company and the compensation plan, what else do you feel you need to know more about? Well, Todd, that's pretty much it. Great. Now, as it relates to the company, what specifically do you feel you need to know about the company that I've not already shared with you? So rather than just opening your mouth and talking about the company, find out what the person needs to know that you've not already shared about the company. And then after you've talked about that, so Bob, does that answer your question on the company? He says yes. And I said, Bob, you want to know more about the compensation plan? What specifically do you want to know more about the compensation plan? I wanted to understand more about how you earn those royalties you talked about. So I'd open my presentation book to this page and I'd say, this is the page that you're talking about? Yes. And I would go through and explain to him what it was, explain that again and find out what part was unclear so I can learn and not be unclear in the future, but also so that I can specifically address his question. And then when I'm done, I said, does that answer your question? He says yes. Okay, so I found out what he needed to know. I was very specific before I dive into a big subject like company or compensation plan. What specifically do you need to know? And then I address it. After providing the information requested, simply ask, now that we have talked about each of the topics you want to know more about, would you like to know your next step? Pretty easy, right? And then you turn the page in the presentation book that explains the next step. Become a distributor, place your startup product order. Or you can simply review the activity cycle that I've shared with you here tonight. So, the 4-point process for gaining a positive decision: determine interest, identify what your prospect needs to know to make a decision, provide the information requested in the most positive and helpful manner, and then ask for a decision. There's nothing creative about this. It's not sneaky. There's no really cool little ways to get a decision. It's just you walk them through this. What do you need to know? Let's talk about that. Did I answer your questions? Would you like to know your next step? Real simple, okay? This is just a real simple process here. Anybody can do this. And what I've learned in India is consistent with what I read about India. Okay? People tend not to make decisions right away. And that's good. I mean, it's good that people aren't making quick decisions and making wrong decisions. So, and again, you want people to make a decision, not just to join your business, but you want a business partner. You want somebody who's going to make a decision and follow through. So, if you meet with somebody and you go through this process and they're just not ready to make a decision, what you need to do is you need to build their belief. You don't just say, okay, they don't want to make a decision right now. First of all, anytime somebody doesn't want to make a decision, there's generally something holding them back about it. It might be they question their own self-confidence. Can I do this? It may be they think their wife is going to be mad at them if they do this. It may be they wonder what their friends are going to think about them if they get involved in a network marketing company. Anytime somebody doesn't make a decision, I always recommend to say, Bob, just be honest with me. Obviously there's something on your mind. What's holding you back? You can't address a concern that someone has unless you know what the concern is. And you won't know what the concern is unless you ask. So, when they don't make a decision, understand there's a reason. There's a concern. There's a hesitation that's holding them back. Just say, hey, just between you and me, just be honest. Obviously there's something concerning you. There's something holding you back. What is it? And let's assume that you're not able to make it. They're just not ready to make a decision at that time. You want to make sure that you send them home with some information to review. So maybe you get extra copies of the brochures, make extra copies of the PDFs, something that they can take home and review. Maybe something they can take home and review with their spouse. If you can, introduce them to your sponsor over the phone. So if you're with somebody and they're not ready to make a decision, just say, you know, I'd like to introduce you to my sponsor, a great man, or I'd like to introduce you to one of my upline business partners. And then call and see if somebody's available and put them on the phone with your prospect so that they can see there's somebody else besides you doing the business. Very effective way of building belief. Introduce them to your sponsor over the phone. Invite them to an upcoming meeting. So if there's as Dr. Yoga is going to start your weekly business meetings, every single person you meet with, whether they join the business or they don't join the business, you invite them to the weekly meeting. Because even if somebody joins the business, they don't know any more than the person who didn't join the business. They both saw the same presentation, right? One person may have just made a decision a little sooner than the other person, but they still need to have confidence. They still need to have belief. Invite them to the weekly business meeting so they can learn more. Next thing you can do is arrange a time to meet with your sponsor. So if I meet with Bob, he's not ready to make a decision. I'm saying, hey, Bob, I'd like for you to sit down with my sponsor so that we can talk a little bit more about this business. What is your availability over the next few days where we can get together? Another thing you can do is to send them one or more videos. Bob, I'd like to send you a couple videos for you to watch. If I send those to you by email today, how soon would you be able to watch them? How soon would you be able to watch them? Tonight? Okay, great. How about we talk tonight? So always know your next step. Here's a tip. If you ever have a prospect that doesn't make a decision and you don't know the next step, they won't know the next step either. And if you don't have a scheduled time to talk, think about every one of these. You send them home with information review, you schedule a time to talk. You introduce them to your sponsor over the phone. If they don't make a decision, you send them home with information review, you schedule a time to talk. Maybe you introduce them to your sponsor over the phone. They don't make a decision, you invite them to a meeting. You confirm the time, location of the meeting. Okay? So all of these, you know your next step. Never, ever, 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 ever leave an appointment and not know your next step. How many of you like to go fishing? Okay, you don't fish much here, huh? All right, forget about that analogy. Number 5, last thing, is you get your new distributor started. When you go to meet with somebody, that you bring a paper copy of the distributor application. Print it out. Some come in your starter kit. You can always print them out right on our website. When somebody's ready to get started, ask them, complete the form on their behalf. After it's completed, flip it around and just ask them to approve the body. You can then take that home, go to unicity.net/India. You can enter the information right on the website. You can go to Dr. Yoga's BBC here in Chennai and turn that in, and his staff will load the application for you. Okay? Or when we're set up, you can even call this in, you can mail it in, you can fax it in. But the point is, when you meet with somebody, expect that they're going to make a decision to get started. And when they get started, you don't want to send them home to sign up online. You want to sign them up. When they're ready to get started, you complete it, flip it around, have them approve it. Next thing is, when somebody's ready to start it, you help them place the order. These are the same points we've already covered, but now put in a different perspective. Based upon your new partner's goals, help them place an appropriate startup order. So if you're meeting with somebody who's made the decision to get started, complete the distributor application. Right on the application, there's a little part. They can determine what product they want. Just enter the product they're going to buy right on there. Flip it around. They sign it. One form has the application and order both on it. Step 3, or point 3, set your goals. Encourage your new business partners to write down their goals. And what you want to do is you want to understand your new business partner's goals. The more clear you are in understanding your new business partner's goals, the more clear you're going to be able to be in directing them. And here's another big benefit of knowing your new business partner's goals, is that when they want to quit, you can pull it and say, hey, Bob, hey, when I sponsored you, you told me you wanted to leave the mortgage business. You told me that the economy had horribly affected your business, that you wanted to be in business for yourself, that you wanted to take control of your life. Now you've not done anything in a week. How do you think that you're going to be able to take control of your life, live the life that you want, provide for your family the future that you're hoping for, if you don't do anything? So it's good for you to know your new business partner's goals, because your goal is to help them not only achieve their goals, but also hold them accountable to those goals. Make a commitment. Ask your new business partners how committed they are to achieving their goals. One of the things I ask people all the time is, Bob, when you do something, how committed are you to what you do? Why do I ask these questions? Because the number one waste of time in this business is what? Working with the wrong people. This is not a sign-up game. You want people who are going to follow through and work their business. So you want to make sure that you explain the importance of a commitment, a mental commitment, and a time commitment. And you want to make sure that they are truly committed. And another thing of knowing what times they're blocking out to build their business, is that you need to be available during the windows of time they blocked out to help them build their business and to coach them each day. You need to know the windows of time they're available so that you can look at the windows of time you're available to see the times that you're both available so that ideally you can go meet with their prospects. Number 5, create a list of those you know. Encourage your new business partners to make a list of as many people as they can think of. Tell them not to prejudge these people, but just to drain their brain of as many people as you can without forming any opinion of them. So challenge your people to make a list of 200 people. I always encourage, make a list of 200 people. Who are these people? Make a list of them. And then number 6, start working the system. Put together a plan to help your new distributor get started working the system immediately. The sooner your new partners get started, the sooner they will start seeing results, and the less likely they will be to quit. Every person you get started, you don't just go over this and say, okay, now start working the system. No. You set up a time to do a private presentation at their home or office. You set up times to go meet with their people. So you put together a plan which includes you going to help them get started. If you're new, include your sponsor in this process to help your people get started. You will have very low attrition. This is people who quit. You'll have very few people who quit if you put together a plan with your people and begin working with them right away and talking to them each day, holding them accountable to their goals and guiding them on the path. Where you'll have a lot of people quit is if you just sponsor people and neglect them and sponsor the next person. One of the things I've said is you recruit, recruit, recruit until the time you're spending recruiting is taken away from the time that you should be spending with those you recruited. I'm not a believer in sponsoring 1 million people and leaving them all along the side of the road as casualties of the Unicity business. I work with them, I coach them, I guide them. I mean, Evan joined the business really on a full-time basis when we came here in March. And Evan, how many days, how frequently do we talk?
Every 2 hours.
Probably not every 2 hours, but every single day except for Sundays we talk. Okay?
How many days?
Every single day, except for Sundays, we talk. Because if he's working his business, he's got questions. Hey, Todd, this came up. How do we address this? Or, Todd, this. Or I'm coaching him and saying, hey, are you doing this? So if you've got people who are, and he's an animal, I mean, he's working like 20 hours a day. There's different questions coming up. I'm making sure he's saying the right things, doing the right things. So it's all part of being a good sponsor. So, you become a distributor. You place your product order, you set your goals, you make your commitment, you create a list of those you know, and you start working the system. Lastly, last slide here tonight, is your success is simple. It boils down to duplicating the system. Only do the things that others can duplicate. Anything you ever think about, any idea you've got, ask yourself, can everybody else do what I'm thinking? If your answer is no, then don't do it. Okay? You won't see me doing things my people can't do. I don't, I got all the creative ideas like everybody else, but I don't do things that can't be duplicated. Lead by example in all you do. You are the leader of your team. What you do, your people will do. If you're recruiting, they'll recruit. If you're not recruiting, they won't recruit. If you're inviting right, they'll invite right. You are the leader. If your business is ever not going the way you'd hoped, if you're ever disappointed or discouraged, the answer is in one place: the mirror. You are the leader. Okay? Your business isn't going well because you're not leading it well. You are the leader of your team. And the more you lead by example, striving to be your best, the more success that you will have. And lastly, keep it simple. This is not a complicated business. I just walked you right through the last 30 minutes how you build this business. Don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. And I know this, and wrap up here tonight. Every one of you, I know that you can succeed. I just wish you believed that you can succeed. I've seen people, just like Brent talked about earlier, from every walk of life, and people who are in dire poverty. I had a friend who I met, and he lived in the basement of his parents' home. I mean, the cars were parked down there. That's where he lived, had no money, and has gone on to earn millions of dollars in this business. Anybody can do it if they have the desire. If you are here tonight and you have the desire to be successful, you can be successful. Believe in yourself. Don't allow anybody to tell you you can't do it. You can do it. Believe in yourself. Have confidence in yourself. Continue to be consistent every day in the action you take. And over time, your business may not grow as fast as somebody else's, but if you stay the course, you will be successful.